Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host and Pearl Dane, the one, the only master of propaganda, heroes like defender of the fatherland, your only sanctioned source of comedy to entertainment, off it all 1v1 on Crossroads Winter. It's Crossroads, but it's cold. In the north, it is Login, fighting for once for the British Army, not the Upper Command West, the Commonwealth King George, taking on the role here of the 11th Armoured Division, tasked with holding against the Germans as they launch an offensive force here under the command of Sara, Lynn, fighting for the German Reich, Deutschland, here with the... let's just go with 15th Panzergun Division with Blitzkrieg, Strategic Reserves, and Mechanized. We got the Universal and Assault Section started here for login. With mortar teams assault sections, the M10 Achilles tank destroyer, M5 half-track, well, technically self-propelled anti-tank gun, because the British Army did not operate with tank destroyers in their doctrine, they called them self-propelled anti-tank guns. Have at it. M5 half-tracks and strafing support. Double pioneer grenade start here for Sara Lynn. Slight interesting deviation there from the typical Wehrmacht opening. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my patrons, supporters, wonderful people, one and all. Without the support, the Propagandacast would just not be possible. So thanks to all of those who continue to contribute to the glorious war effort of the Propagandacast. Other people can join thanks by Patreon, they can donate by PayPal, links in the description, and, consider pre-ordering comments free. You're going to do that by the link in the comments. Use the code CoH2 I get a 15% cut of the sales. That's nice. And, always comment, like, share, subscribe to feed the YouTube algorithms. On the east here, Pioneer versus the section. In the west, Pioneers versus the Investigator here. We can see their locket is striking hard here for the British Empire. Leading hard here against the Huns with the second assault section all the way there. We got more Grenadiers here for Sara Lynn. That's going to be a bit tough here, without an MD4 to really hold up against. That said, if Sara Lynn can pull off some impressive infantry footwork, there might be a chance there. Same with Blitzkrieg, Strategic Reserves, and Mechanized. There's certainly an emphasis on, mechanization to a degree. At least there's a potential for, but also like armor, with command tanks or Panzer IV Model J's. Section holding up here by the Carthage Grenadiers in the section. They're about to be attacked by the assault section. The Sten guns tearing into the Grenadiers here, firing back, killing Lewis there. Sergeant Hammond urges his men onwards against those dastardly Huns. We got more Grenadiers here for Sara Lynn. Carp on the west is seized by Lock-in's rapid infantry assault here. The Sten guns blazing out hot death against the Germans in America. They're accidentally pushing into them. Good lord, where are you watching? Watch where you're driving. Looks like someone's had a bit too much tea for breakfast. I only had a bit of sherry in it. Oh. Now the assault section out here, Lock-in, is going pretty hard on the assault elements here versus Sara Lynn, who meanwhile is going hard on the Grenadiers. No MD42 as of yet here. University there's some light damage so far inflicted on it. Can of course fix it up here with the crew repairability. We'll of course have to see what Sara Lynn goes for next. Maybe fast tech, some Panzer Grenadiers. Probably not assault grenadiers, I think they've gone from by now. And that's at most places we tend not to go for assault grenadiers versus the assault sections, as the assault section quickly become much better with the assault section upgrade, whereas the assault grenadiers, well, they do get a very handy 6-man upgrade, needs more time, and still really can't match just having 2 Thompsons on that squad, in between those 2 Thompsons are basically in-game better assault rifles. In the actual, reality of things, not better assault rifles. Although I'm fairly certain the United States Army still be running around with the Thompsons because they could get away with it. Which they can't, thus they aren't doing it. Assault section charging forward to the Grenadiers here, taking some further casualties as the Grenadiers fire over their K9TKs. The safe confines of the wooden house, though, ultimately not able to withstand the sheer pressure, and good golly, Lock-in is going hard in here for the British Empire with a total of 4 assault sections for 5 section build here again. As I mentioned by now, again, this meta game for, shall we say, the final period of Community 2 before Community 2 releases has really sort of, I think, hit hard with just heavy infantry builds there. As I think, again, people realize, hang on, infantry is pretty good. So, like to mechanized company there on the way for Sara Lynn. Quick see an armored car to hit back against all these assault sections because they're going to be quite vulnerable to, armored car, though theoretically a flamethrower uptake could also be a really potent investment here for Sara Lynn. That said, Sara Lynn is a bit short on munitions for that, though part of that can be explained with the light machine guns for the Grenadiers. The armored car can also deal with the universal care, whereas the flamethrower half-jack can't, though You'd figure with a light vehicle that is completely open top that a flamethrower would be a pretty good counter. But, you know, again, that's the whole game engine thing. Pioneers of the section is going for the victory point there in the east. So far, though, Login and the British Empire is leading hard against the Germans. The 15th Panzergrenadier Division is definitely a bit off to a slightly stumbling start. Armored coming up west side here. Up north here, Pioneers caught by a small British task force there. No upgrades yet from the vessel carrier here. In fact, has yet to take up. Just been focusing hard on the assault sections that Login actually doesn't have quite a count here to the 2-2, which is pretty good there for Sir Lynn. Less good for Login. Notably less good. There we go, tank on the way, unsurprisingly in response to the armoured car. And he's caught with the assault section and their Sten guns. Ripping into them, they go pushed back. We got the assault section up here on the retreating grenadier path here. Could get a wipe, which would be quite painful here for Sir Lynn. Armoured car rushing in. Eastern victory point makes his back by the Pioneers, but so far Login's got a really good map reserve versus Sir Lynn. Got more grenadiers now on the way for Sir Lynn. No Panzer Grenadier, bit of a shame here. Person at least, I'd say that. Looks like Sir Lynn's response is to all of this British infantry to go for more German infantry. Don't you worry! You German soldiers are worth more than the English. Roughly 1/3 more. Only 1/3? Yeah, you know, bit of a drop in quality at this part of the war. At the start of it, you'd easily be worth 2 Englishmen, but now it's like, you know, more 1/3. Some of the good ones, 1.5, yeah. But, so the rest of you, 1 1/3. Except you, Otto. You count only as half an Englishman. You're really bad. I don't expect you to survive the war. Even if it were to end tomorrow. Assault sector goes against the Grenadiers in the centre. Ripping through them with light machine fire. There you go. Thompson's really doing a number there. The Grenadiers up close. Armoured car to the assault section there. Armoured car striking to the assault section there. Ripping through them. Sir Lynn has definitely got a bit of map control back here with the armoured car, then addition of more Grenadiers. Certainly, I think, isn't hurting Sir Lynn either. Certainly not hurting either. If first Thompson upgrade away, there'll be more to come here for Login, as obviously they're quite good upgrades. Assault section limit of 12 being pushed back here by the 2-2. AC Mark III on the way there for Login to counter the 2-2 obviously, but also put more control in the field. We got Sir Lynn following up with the Pack 40. Obviously having a good idea that there might be an armoured car to counter their armoured car. And while Sir Lynn could commit to more 2-2s to counter that, typically most players aren't a big fan of that, as having to manage more than one armoured car typically involves a lot of micromanagement skills due to the at times fairly wonky pathing of handling multiple armoured cars. Part of this is just how the game seems to, like, you know, have this weird idea of time and space and tries to get vehicles to, if you order, say, you know, multiple vehicles to move at the same time, just in one group, it tries to force them to move at the same time and same place at the same time. And of course, they can't do that, which typically causes a lot of pathing errors, in particular for light vehicles, which are typically quite fast. So, bit of an element there which causes most of the ammo players to typically only like stick to 1 to 2 if they can avoid it. Not because, you know, having more than one is technically bad, but it's an absolute hell to manage. Leaves the assault section in the east. Plus, a lot of the time, a single 2-2 can do the job quite well. West side here, we've got the assault section pushing Weatherston compound there. Armoured car rolling out there for a login. But again, very consistent hitting their car point by both players. They're both, of course, quite aware that the best way to get things going, of course, is denying the other bastard resources. Assault section charting forward. See, interesting enough, we're not seeing many more Thompson upgrades here. At least another section has been upgraded. And there we go. Armoured car bypasses here Sara Lynn's front line. Good, I think, a read on the battlefield here by Login. Saw through Sara Lynn's front line here. Knocked out the armoured car. And now Sara Lynn's Pack 40 was also caught out of position. And I do believe we lost the Grenadier squad there as well. Yes, indeed. Extra painful there for Sir Lynn and the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. Not only was an armoured car left burning by the roadside, but a Grenadier squad has been left dead in the snow. And in comparison, there's not been really like any similar blows there delivered to a Login and the 11th Armoured Division. You got medics on the way here though for Login. provide some healing for the men. Most likely just tea and biscuits. Could we have some morphine, sir? Could we have some morphine, sir? Of course not. You're not officers. Here, have some more tea. In fact, I'll pour it right into your wound. Ah! Don't you be such a baby. Can I have some morphine? And these are the section in the west. And another grenadier squad here, Sara Lynn, committing very heavily to the grenadiers. I'd still like to see some Panzer grenadiers, honestly. But, again, obviously a bunch of light machine grenadiers is also quite efficient. Just perhaps a little boring to me. But anyways, minor details there, minor details. So that is a impressive infantry force here to match a also fairly impressive infantry force there. And these was the section there. Back in, nothing further transpiring for Sara Lynn. Still no commander either. Pack shoots, doesn't really hit anything. Armored cars are going to DC, shoots, hits an outhouse. Thankfully no one's inside of that. Otherwise that could have gotten really messy. West side there, attempt to pick the car point there, slightly disrupted here. There are numerous grenadiers above the light machines. In this case, that was Sara Lynn's grenadiers could be caught in a really bad place versus two assault sections, one with Thompsons. He is absolutely not where you want to be caught here. And fortunately, though, for Sara Lynn this time around, a wipe is avoided, but definitely very close to getting out clear. Now Sara Lynn, I think, realizes, you know what? An MG42 team might, in fact, be a really smart investment. Oof. And there we go. In assault century, they dropped the light machine gun. So yeah, machine's been great. Panther-grenadiers, I think, have also been a nice investment. But oh well. Of course, would also think be a very handy idea eventually for Sara Lynn to consider investing into a nice Panzer IV. Maybe even the Model J here from Strategic Reserves. Or Command Tank. Meanwhile, lock in there's yet to take up. But there you go. Charging ahead here. Pioneers, light machine gun into them. But again, we got assault sections with a light machine gun. And oh, another wipe here. The casualties for Sara Lynn and the 15 Panther-grenadiers pile up. But there you go. Wipe the section with the light machine gun, at least denying sacred German equipment to the filthy Britishman. Englishmen. Britishman. Who cares, anyways?
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Armor car, they need some repairs.
Stand ready.
Pioneers at the west side. Straight into the Pioneers here with the assault section.
We're losing a capture point.
Ripping them apart here with light machine gun fire. Getting caught here again between a lot of sections and assault sections. Will lock and replace the lost assault section. Does he even care? Who knows? Meanwhile, Sara Lynn replacing more grenadiers with a steady pace. No tech still, I think. I could be wrong. I'm not. Meanwhile, we do have a lock-in taking up. Good for him. Less potentially good there for Sara Lynn, though. That said, the current resource disruption that Sara Lynn has been able to affect on login certainly is helping out a fair amount there. On the west side here, Pioneers with full support on the assault sector. There you go. White phosphorus deployed there. Just absolute chaos and havoc here on the battlefield as both players have at each other. Nothing further in terms of tech for Sara Lynn. Gonna bring about here. Up north here. Gonna use holding the car point for now. For the glory of Deutschland. Pack 40 though is definitely exposed here. Like, could get rushed down pretty badly here. With a bit of bad luck in this case for Sara Lynn. Spots the danger just in time. Orders the pack crew back before it becomes a British anti-tank gun. And property of the Crown. Later to, of course, be put up at British Museum. White phosphorus deployed there. Quickly forces up the Grenadiers. Very powerful grenade there to have, of course, for the assault section. Another reason they can be fairly popular is, again, you know, not only do you get, like, you know, assault section can be upgraded with, again, 2 better assault rifles, but you get access to white phosphorus grenades, and you can, of course, toss smoke grenades as well. Armor car, the damaged engine. But again, more white phosphorus here being deployed, quite efficient there by login. And certainly the key to really getting the most out of the assault sections is just consistent use of the white phosphorus grenade. It can really just give your assault sections so much more punches. They can completely mess with enemy formations while still doing damage. Really powerful ability there. And of course, regular smoke as well. That said, Login is kind of hitting a bit of a bottleneck here, that he just does not have enough munitions to actually supply all of these white phosphorus grenades at the moment. As you can see, they definitely gave Sara Lynn here a much tougher time there. And we got a fresh assault. Oh, actually, not an assault signature, but a regular mortar. That is, I think, is an excellent addition as well for Login. As I like to say, mortars are pretty good. At least that's the abbreviated version. 5th Gun squad here for Sara Lynn. Again, is back to that infantry build there. 5 squads. Also, again, worth keeping in mind here, Sara Lynn is being very consistent about this. Thumbs up to that. Some players can like go for them first and then sort of just kind of forget about it. But being fairly consistent about a particular element of your build, I think, is also a pretty good thing to have as long as it makes sense. In this case, 5 squads of infantry makes sense as long as you're just, you know, throwing them away there in pointless engagements. Which I think so far Sara Lynn is mostly achieving fairly successfully. That's it. Still no sign of tech here. No commander either. I would like to see something in that regard personally. So with that much infantry here, well, at the very least, like maybe a half tech to support the grenadiers. I think that's going to be a very nice, handy thing there for Sara Lynn. Would allow Sara Lynn to use the infantry much more efficiently. Though, of course, the armoured car there makes it much harder for Sara Lynn to use a 250 on half tech to support the grenadiers easily. So, obviously, would need to put that one out of commission if possible. Got the universal carrier there. So about to say, oh, got it. But no, that was not the armoured car. That was definitely not it. Yeah, map control continues to swing back, forth, and hither and dither. Still not much there for Sara Lynn. The longer this goes on, the more I suspect Sara Lynn is planning something bigger here than just medium on, because by now Sara Lynn could easily have a Panther 4 out, maybe like a Panther 4 Model J soon. But so far, it's remaining fairly against that. So the question is, what is Sara Lynn scheming here? Smoke being deployed machine gun, very good here. As for Login, hammer tactics, straight into the Comet. Oh, Cromwell, actually. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Better to apply more pressure with that rather than trying to hold up for the big attack. Of course, going for the Comet eventually, I think it would still be a really good idea here for Login, obviously. But getting out a tank first, I think, offers more pressure against Sara Lynn now. It makes it hard for Sara Lynn to, of course, do whatever they want to do if it involves stalling up for something big. And again, that's also the danger there of Sara Lynn trying to stall for something big. If that's a plan, like, you know, it gives Login just more time to pressure now the tanks. Soldier going for the Grenadiers here. Thompson Sten guns are ripping into the unfortunate Grenadiers. Getting pushed back there, though. More white phosphorus here deployed by Login's assault sections. More Thompsons on the way, though. Again, unlike Sara Lynn, Login is not quite as keen on replacing losses. Finally scored it with the assault section there, getting very close to the east level. Mortar could, yeah, be brought a bit closer to the front line here, I think. Really a lot of movements here and there. At times even difficult to keep track of it. Armor car running around here. 3 killed, close veterans, 1 machine gun crew once more being pushed out into the open. Almost wiped out there by the British mortar. Technically an American mortar used by the British. As initially, of course, they didn't intend for the British to have a mortar in the game, so, you know, they just set the mortar on placement. Of course, they had realised they had to kind of give the mortars somehow, and, you know, they just had to make do with the American mortar then, because they didn't actually have a proper mortar model for the British. Fun fact there. Fun fact.
Supply is looking a bit squiffy. Line's been cut.
And tier 4, so clearly something big is brewing here for Sara Lynn, and again, very risky strategy. There's the British, and with the current sort of amount of harassment, can sort of maybe work out to a degree, but at this per se being against the Soviets, I definitely rate this kind of strategy as pretty much suicidal. And even here, I would say it's still pretty risky. Pretty damn risky. And still no commander. Making your what? Are they actually planning strategic reserves for the Tiger Ace here? That would definitely be on the yikes list. That said, if they're going to go for tier 4, I would certainly recommend, and have 5 Grenadiers by the way, I would certainly recommend getting the heavy Panzer Corps. You can at least get that slight minimal, practically not worth bothering with really reinforcement cost reduction. Again, I'm not really saying it's great anything to write home about, but like, you know, if you got 5 Grenadier squads, you're going straight for tier 4. At least building get some minimal use out of it. I mean, it's so small, it may as well. I'm not entirely sure why they bother with it, except maybe to like say they did something there. But I would say if you got 5 grenadiers, you might actually get some mild value out of it. Getting the car for there. Go, heavy panzer corps up. Right in this section, assault section there. Armored cars are proving, of course, excellent supportive for the assault sections. Gunnery force going to panzer faster, of course. Need to be careful not to ignore the assault section. Yeah, skirmishing here, Grenadiers was the assault section there. Actually, should wait reinforcing the Grenadiers there. Okay, yeah. Or she should wait, I think, until they're getting upgraded. Again, it's like, you know, 2 manpower. Then again, like, we got a lot of Grenadiers, it can actually sort of pay off. I'm a bit surprised they didn't stick through with it there, but oh well. Just being pushed back here by the Cromwell there. Planning hammer tactics now, perhaps, who knows. Western point to grab. Sara Lynn, though, if they're planning something big, it definitely needs to ensure control of fuel points there. Just put in the center here by the section. Building collapsed there. Crushed by the British war machine. Armored car there pushed back here by the Pack 40. Sara Lynn launches another sortie to the west. Another slightly minor push into the center here. As for login, I mean, more Cromwells now could easily make a lot of sense, but again, going for comets might also be an idea there. Nice hit by the Cromwell and the Grenadiers. Good hit return from the Pack 40 there on the Cromwell tank. Fun fact about the Cromwell tank would actually serve as the basis for the E30 Challenger tank, which was basically a larger Cromwell tank. They basically elongated it and gave it a really big turret and then it fit a 17-pounder gun into it. As a fun fact, even that bigger turret still had a smaller profile than the Sherman Firefly, and while crews initially preferred the Firefly, they would actually over time prefer the Challenger because it had A, the lower profile, meaning you're less of a target, and B, it was also faster than the Firefly. So, little fun fact there. Ground Western point here. Kind of surprised with the Cromwell here they didn't also like add in the E30 Challenger, but I guess they wanted something iconic too. Okay, there we go. Hammer tactics for login. Going to support with the 2 assault sections. Around the western munitions point here with the Pioneer. Meanwhile, lock-in leads the assault in the center here for the British Empire, the Commonwealth. Cromwell rushing westwards here, straight at the Pioneers. Unleashing hell there. And wiping the Pioneers, minor blow there to Sara Lynn. Heavy strategic reserves with the assault grenadiers, Panzer Formoliers, breakthrough packages, mobile observation posts, and the Tiger Rays. Obviously means a Tiger Rays strategy here. Again, highly risky and not something I recommend in most circumstances, in particular against the Soviets. Against the Soviets, they straight up describe this strategy as straight up suicidal. Air support unleashed here by Logan against Sara Lynn there. Go MD40 crew wiped out, but now we have the Tiger Rays out here. A highly decorated veteran of the German Panzerwaffe, of the 506 Schwere Panzerabteilung, moving ahead here through the snows of Western Europe. But lost the M42 to the British. That could get a bit painful. Of course, one thing to worth that is actually kind of working out for Sara Lynn, but in a sense, the way Sara Lynn's strategy operated kept lock-in's focus mostly on the infantry, so lock-in doesn't actually have a lot of counter to the Tiger Race. Like, they have a Cromwell in the armored car, but they don't actually have any anti-tank guns, for example, so in this regard, kinda could have worked out with the British, because the Soviets are just going to go for field guns no matter what, because they're so high utility again, plus just T-34-76 is also super efficient. Trying to execute this kind of strategy as the Soviets, I think, would have resulted in a sounding loss for Sara Lynn, because the British can sort of more likely kind of drag into this kind of fight here. It can sort of make it work, but still, it's not something I'd recommend on average. You definitely need to be like, you know, a player of higher quality like Sara Lynn, I think. Wait, Tiger Ace setting out. They're going to need something forward for Deutschland. Lost another Grenadier squad. Can replace it. Could even consider with Assault Grenadiers. Probably won't. And there go Comet on the way there for login. Which was in fact also in the sense the main challenge to the Challenger tank project. But they still got through with it. Sappers between the Tiger Ace here. Shoots whiffs. So the Tiger Ace definitely poses a problem. We got the Comet away. They log in. May want to consider 6-pounder guns or a bunch of Piets perhaps, but definitely something to put more significant pressure here on Sara Lynn's Tiger Ace. There you go. Comet out. Equipped with a slightly shortened version of the 17-pounder gun, which they, for logistical purposes, call the 77mm gun. Simply to avoid issues because it also had to use different ammunition than 17-pounder gun. So they obviously don't want like coarse ammunition mix-up. So they basically just called it a 77mm gun. But for all intents and purposes, 17-pounder gun, but with a shorter barrel. Which I'm going to do is here. Tiger is pursuing. Smoke deployed there. Assuming the AC heat gun is on the other side. Also, one thing to consider is, like, you know, for login, it like go for that many assault sections. Like, apart from suggest also the officers with the heroic charge ability and all the other stuff to support them. I feel like that'd been a pretty good addition here for the login. Well, that's just a side note there. Machine caught him there, armored car in the east. And then go 2 assault sections. Yeah, that's going to be wiped. Then aiming for 2 again. Tiger Ace arriving here, but will it be able to, like, you know, keep them off the machine gun? Looks like the answer to that question is yes. Big yes. Oh, actually, crude is still, but got the survivors crashed as they're trying to grab it. Don't worry about us. Just grab the machine gun. It's just, but why? It's for the Empire. I don't think it's worth it. Just do it. God, it hurts. Anyways, Tiger Ace engaged for the Comet and the AC, taking some damage there. Quickly backing off there. More Pioneers here for Sara Lynn, who's also upgraded the Pioneers, finally with the Pioneer support package. He's got some Sappers, which allows them to repair faster, which is obviously pretty handy. Also allow them to wreck cover and toss satchel charges. What will Login do next? I mean, churning out a bunch of M10s could be an idea. Fireflies could also be an idea versus the Tiger Ace, which is trying more Comets. I mean, in this regard, Login definitely has ample opportunities to like explore ways of countering that Tiger Ace. As for Sara Lynn, could still go for a Panther full model J. I still think that'd be a pretty good addition here, honestly, to back up the Tiger Ace. Could also go for the Panther, obviously. Go for some Panzer Grenadier. Plenty of things to pursue for Sara Lynn too. Assault section charting force here, just a massive wave of submachine guns there, drowning the Germans in lead and British insults. Tiger Ace shoots, kind of whiffs. Assault section there races forwards. Then again, both Ace and a nasty hit from the Tiger Ace right into them. Further casualty inflicted on the assault section. They're being ripped apart here. Comet shoots, whiffs. Almost got them. Oh, Gammon Bomb wipes one of Sara Lynn's remaining Grenadier squads. They're down to 3 now. Guessing they're going to go for a Panther now. They definitely should go for some more infantry afterwards. There you go. Panther on the way to the Panzerkampfwagen 5. As Login races forwards here with the Comet. Misses and the Tiger Ace is not gaining. Betsy 2 here. Also comes up for Spearhead. Let's see how Sara Lynn actually makes use of that one. Going for the Firefly head up counter the Tiger Ace. Second ground burst munitions. There you go. Pop Spearhead. Thumbs up there to Sara Lynn. Very handy ability there. Panther halfway done. In fact, close to approaching 1/3 of the way left to go. Still could do with more infantry though. Heavy Panzer Corps almost got that Panther ready to engage. Combat fixed up. Crick right on the west. We got Phoenix 232. Firefly's almost down there for login and the British Empire.
We're losing a capture point.
And on the west side here, steadily approaching the victory point there as well. 15th Panzer Gunner Division has turned the tide. Cancels the Firefly for another Comet. I mean, makes sense, but I feel like the time wasted now almost isn't a bit more questionable at this point in the game. By the way, got the Panther out now as well for Serlin and to Deutschland.
The enemy cut our supply line.
Assault section there rolling forward into the Tiger Racer's line of fire. And there you go, great hit there.
Capture point.
On the west side here, assault sections pushing into the western fields here. Panther's almost got its pillar mounted MD42 ready. Comet number 2 halfway done here. Further west, we've got the Comet falling back here towards the British headquarters, probably awaiting the Senate Comet, and then we'll probably, I guess, try and like make a hard push on the Tiger Race. If Serlin, for example, like here, basically splits off the Tiger Race from the rest of their force, so it becomes easily, like, you know, ganged up on, which is certainly questionable, in particular as the British with the armoured car here, the AC, which can fire target credibility that way, further making the Tiger Race a big target. That said, it does require, again, this all being set up, and so far, login does apparently not appearing to be doing that, which is great for Sarah Lynn and their Tiger Race, which, again, I would stress, is currently isolated from their entire force, which is certainly tactically very risky and not advisable in a lot of circumstances. Kind of wondering if Sarah Lynn is trying to line up for, say, another pincer maneuver. As I do recall Sarah Lynn appearing to be a big fan of pincers, which is, you know, is definitely not a bad fascination to have at all. Not a bad one to have at all. And there you go, straight to Telemann here with the Comet. Engine blown up, Grenadiers wiped out. Another blow here to the German right, but the Tiger is pushing through here. Perhaps not wiped up, at least dropped a light machine gun. More casualty on the assault section from the Tiger Ace. Pioneer's been caught here out in the open. Panther in the west here. I mean, right now, Login's actually in a bit of an awkward position. Like, if Sarah Lynn was to, like, put with both tanks and some infantry, I think they can actually crush Login if they were to do that. And the AC's all the way back here, just kind of forgotten about by Login. And there you go, I think Sarah Lynn got the idea, charging with the Panther. Tiger Ace attacking from numerous angles. Very sensible here. Machine being pushed back there by the advancing Tiger Ace with 16 kills. Panther with 2 kills. Mortar crew there also wiped out. Definitely relief there, I imagine, for Sarah Lynn's infantry. Good shot in the Comet, which, I mean, can't defend itself at all. Deploying smoke there, but just doesn't matter. Panther, though, should be staying clear, close to the Tiger Ace. Almost had it there, but bounced. Hack and Panther dealing with the AC Mark III armored car. Didn't quite get the Comet AC, they may be trying to immobilize, but risk getting knocked out. Comet there getting Panther fausted. Got the AC Mark III, with this login appears to be in some pretty deep trouble here as the Panther pursues the other Comet, and the Tiger Ace is raiding the base here. It's wide open here. The infantry is practically target practice for the German tank crews. There you go. The Comet goes up in flame sling with just one Comet to go, which can't do anything. And the Panther just drives straight at the infantry. Login surrenders. A glorious victory for Deutschland. A fierce fight here. A certainly somewhat abnormal Wehrmacht strategy. And certainly, again, not a one I would recommend, especially against the Soviets. I would absolutely advise against it. But still, some fun stuff here. So hope you enjoyed this match. I've learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell a friend, tell a family. But don't tell your enemies. This is Imperial Links and cheers. Thank you all for watching. Hope you'll tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.